Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel on this very dull day in the UK. It's really dull and dark and raining and horrible. Anyway, so I'm really envious of you guys over in Australia today and possibly the US. I don't know, depends on what state you are, I suppose. Anyway, let's get on. So today I wanted to do a video about some new concealers that have come out, because if you're like me, there have been a lot of new concealers that have come out in the last 2 months that promised the world. You know, they all have got these promises, and there've been about 4 or 5, and I've thought, well, which one do I get? So anyway, you know, I got Magic Away, but I was very tempted to get Huda. Then I was asked if I could try Jouer and review it on this channel. And I also got Too Faced after Wayne Goss had said it was the best concealer he's ever used. And it's sort of claims like that over all of the concealers. The only one I haven't got, which has also got really great claims, is the Becca one. Because I thought, come on now, you've got 4. How many concealers does a girl need? But I thought I would do a kind of comparison review and that kind of help you to decide which one's best for you. Now, what's best for me might not be best for you. All I'm going to do is talk you through how they've worn on me. And then I'm going to show you over the next couple of videos how they wear, because obviously I can't put 4 concealers on all at once. I can put 2 on, and I'm going to ask you a little bit about how you'd like me to do this. But today what I'm going to do is I'm just going to talk to you about the 4 concealers, and I'll probably put 1 on and then we can discuss how you would like me to show you the others on my face over the next few days, whether you want me to compare 2 different ones together or whether you want me to do one of each time I do a video, okay? Because I couldn't really decide what to do and what you'd like to see. So I've swatched all 4 concealers. Let me just first of all tell you, I've got some stuff written down. What concealers I'm talking about. So I've probably just mentioned it, but just to be clear. So we're talking about the Charlotte Tilbury Magic Away concealer. Then the Huda Beauty Overachiever concealer. The Jouer Essential High Coverage concealer. And the Too Faced. Now, you have to be careful because there's 2 Born This Way concealers. And it's the Born This Way Super Coverage Multi-Use Sculpting Concealer. Okay, so let's get on to, first of all, the number of shades that are available. Okay, this is going to be pretty straightforward. Now, the Magic Away comes in 16 shades. Huda comes in 20 shades. Jouer comes in 26 shades. And Too Faced comes in 20 shades. Although I was confused because I read somewhere that Jouer came in 50 shades. But when I've looked on their website and when I've looked on Cult Beauty, I can only see 26 shades. So I'm not sure why I've read that there are 50 shades available. Not sure about that at all. But anyway. So let me, what do they say about each concealer is the next part of this. Okay, starting with Magic Away. So I've taken this from Cult Beauty rather than each individual website, so you can hear Cult Beauty what they have to say about each one. Following on, so this is Magic Away by Charlotte Tilbury. Following on from her multi-award-winning Magic Foundation, Charlotte Tilbury's long-wearing, water-resistant Magic Away Liquid Concealer will astonish you with its retexturizing powers as well as its concealing capabilities. Enriched with glycine, Persian silk tree bark extract, which stretches across imperfections and smooths over to form a second skin finish, and wild indigo extract, which reduces redness and enhances the skin's luminosity. This truly is makeup magic. Not only does it cover dark circles, spots, blemishes and any other imperfections you'd care to mention, it also plumps skin, leaving it firm, smooth and lifted, as well as beautifully even. Perfect around your eyes in particular, this miracle product leaves upper lids looking lifted and can minimise the appearance of crow's feet and fine lines. Sounds great, doesn't it? All of these have got descriptions that make you think that they're all magic. Okay, so let's move on to Huda. So, calling all side hustlers, exhausted parents, and amazing... Let me just show you as I'm doing this so you'd see magic away. So this is Huda. Calling all side hustlers, exhausted parents, and amazing all-night longers. If you're always the last to leave the party or the office, it's time to meet your newest overachieving ally, Huda Beauty's unbelievably hard-working overachiever concealer. Huda Katana herself says, I wanted a product that would instantly hide my dark circles, spots, hyperpigmentation and any redness. We packed the concealer with as much pigment as we could and added light reflecting spheres that have a soft blemish blurring effect. So whether you want to blend it out or build it up for high impact full coverage, this formula is perfect. It grants a subtle luminous matte finish that won't settle into fine lines, cake or create a flashback effect in photos. Enriched with long-wearing polymers, the formula fuses to the skin to grant a water-resistant, transfer-free finish, so it will work hard for as long as you do. Now, interestingly, this concealer also has Persian silk tree bark extract, which I thought was very unusual as they both came out at the same time. And you can kind of feel that stretchiness going on there. But I'll get onto ingredients in a minute. So then we move on to Jouer. So Jouer is... Let's get Jouer out for you. This is Jouer here. So Jouer, for flawlessly full, nourishing foundation coverage, look no further than Jouer's Essential High Coverage Liquid Concealer. This delivers a creaseless, soft matte finish with a concentrated formula that's sublimely smooth, so you won't have to wait long to attain complexion perfection. What's more, the liquid is enriched with a host of skin-loving ingredients, age-defying resveratrol, ultra-hydrating hyaluronic acid, and a plumping tripeptide complex to give a fresh, youthful finish. And lastly, we have Too Faced, which is everything you could want from a concealer and more. The Born This Way Super Coverage Multi-Use Sculpting Concealer from Too Faced is the product your complexion has been waiting for, providing full buildable coverage that lasts for up to 12 hours of crease-free, weightless wear. This concealer is a master of camouflage, allowing you to conceal and retouch the areas you want to blur, under-eye circles, spots and blemishes. As well as this, the versatile multitasking formula can also be used to highlight. Simply choose a shade 2 to 3 times lighter than your natural skin tone. And contour, simply choose a cool tone shade 3 shades darker than your natural to create believable shadow and shape. The exclusive diamond-shaped doe foot applicator allows for perfectly precise application with a flat surface for wider coverage and thinner edges for precision coverage. Right. Okay, now, so there, let's get on to all their their selling points. Okay. Now, first of all, I do want to talk about Too Faced. So their selling point is that this is a kind of all-in-one, that you can use it to conceal, you can use it to brighten under your eyes or highlight, you can use it to contour, and you can use it to retouch. Now, all I would say is I think you can do that with any concealer, certainly any liquid concealer. And in terms of foundations, you can do that with foundations as well. So I kind of, their selling point, I think it's a really good concealer, but I just think that they're selling something, that saying that you can do that, which is true, you can do that, but I think if you got the Jouer foundation 2 to 3 times lighter, you could do the same, or darker, you could do the same. You could really do this with Magic Away, although you probably, it's a slightly thicker formula. But you could essentially do it with any concealer and any foundation. So I think their kind of selling point, what I think they have done is they've tried to make their selling point. I think they were the first to come out with theirs. Theirs is at least a little bit different to the others, and the others all seem to be going for lightweight, covers imperfections, smooths fine lines, and not really giving you much to choose from between the other three. All say things like soft matte, luminous matte, and so let me talk about ingredients. Okay, let's look at this Jouer concealer, because I was very keen when I saw the ingredients that they talked about in this, because they talk about resveratrol, they talk about hyaluronic acid, and they talk about tripeptides. So I was very keen, because I actually do use resveratrol from The Ordinary, and it does work well on my skin. I use hyaluronic acid as well, and I use tripeptides in lots of skincare. So that sounded like very good in terms of ingredients for the skin. Charlotte talks about this Persian tree extract, which I think was nicknamed by her as being the spandex of makeup. It's something that has not been mentioned before, and it does feel great. It feels stretchy on the skin. And I am really intrigued about how these Huda Beauty and Charlotte's came out at almost the same time with exactly the same ingredient, which, let's face it, it's not hyaluronic acid, it's not peptides, it's not one of these, it's not vitamin C, one of these things, ingredients that you see every day. It's a kind of new ingredient, a little bit like the porcelain flower extract that Charlotte was using and Trini London were using a while back, this anti-redness one. So I was intrigued that they were both using this, and it did make me wonder if they actually use the same factory, and that these ingredients sort of get pushed towards them when they're developing products. Charlotte, though, did say that hers has been years in the making. I don't know how long Huda's has been in the making. It's just something to think about. But they both give that kind of stretchy feel on the skin and that smoothing feel on the skin. So next I'm going to move on to value for money. Okay, Ali's calculator came out again. Now, this is a really good thing to think about. So I'm going to just show you these 4 concealers together. And it is worth sitting down and doing the maths, because let me just show you all of these together. Probably one is obviously more than the other. This looks like it's got more product in it, I would say. Out of all those concealers, this looks like it's got more product. But these, I think it's quite difficult to tell. So I'm going to run you through. So Magic Away, which is this one, has got 4 mils in it for £24. Okay, and Huda Beauty's has got 10 mils in it for £23. Then you have Jouer, which has got 4.14 mils. And I was shocked by that, looking at that, because that to me looks like it's got possibly more than the Huda one, and yet it hasn't. So it just shows how it's got basically less than half of what's in the Huda one. It shows how packaging can be very deceptive. And then the Too Faced one has got 15 mils for £24. So in terms of price per mil and value, I will tell you that the most expensive is coming out as Magic Away, which is £6 per mil. £6 per mil. The second expensive is the Jouer, which comes out at £4.11 per mil. The third expensive is Huda Beauty at £2.30 per mil. And the cheapest one per mil is Too Faced at £1.60 per mil. Alright, so that's that. So next I'm going to move on to delivery of product. Okay, all concealers these days seem to have doe foots. Okay, now Charlotte's doe foot you've seen. Now I'm going to tell you about the design of this. I'm not keen, although I love the concealer, I'm not keen on the design of this as I've been using it. Because often what's happened is, say you've put your foundation on and you've blended something in with your fingers. I often find that my hand slips and I cannot pull this off. Right, that it just isn't designed for you to, if you've put, say, magic cream on and your hand's a little bit slippy, you really have to be able to grip to pull this off. And it's often difficult to get the lid off when you have got product on your hands, you know, or you've used moisturiser or hand cream. It actually takes quite a bit of pulling. So I think that is a bit of a design flaw. I like the fact, though, that you can see how much product you've got left. Because a lot of the time you have no idea until you run out. And I think that is really helpful. I'm not sure, though, still, even though I've got a bit of an indicator that I've used just over half. Still got to work out how long I've got left. But I think that's a really good idea. I do not like this doe foot. Now, look at this. When I click it to bring up more product, I don't see more product coming in. It's only when you press on it. So it's great. It does save you. I think it saves you from overusing and putting too much product on. But it is so messy and so wasteful that you basically get lots of concealer stuck in the lid, stuck around the edges. It's not very hygienic. It just is really horrible. And I thought I'd leave it like that. Sometimes I wipe it all off. But I wanted to show you what it looks like. So, in terms of hygiene, possibly not the best. Then we have two doe foots. We have the Jouer one, which is a doe foot. And it's just your normal doe foot, really. And this does actually... This is very high coverage. It dispenses an awful lot of product all at once. So you just have to be very careful not to overuse, not to load up the doe foot with too much. It's very easy to put too much on at once in terms of how much. And I find with this one, I have to give it a bit of a wipe on the top just to get rid of excess product. Because if you don't, and you go to put it on, like that, you end up with way too much. If I just show you that, it is just, if I put that under my eyes, it would just be way too much. I'll show you. I can kind of, now I did get this in the wrong colour. It's too yellowy for my skin, but just show you that that is kind of, yeah. So you do have to wipe that off. It just dispenses too much. The Too Faced is a similar doe foot. It says diamond shape, so it does allow you to get a little bit more into corners, but I don't know whether that makes a huge amount of difference because you're going to be blending it in. But you know, if you want to get right under the eyes, there's a slight advantage for it to have that diamond shape. But otherwise very good. Reminds me very much of the Tarte Shape Tape, which I think is what they were going for. Very good coverage. And then you have the only one that's different, which is the Huda Beauty. Now, there are pluses and minuses to this. So it's actually a metal applicator, which you can see. Very cooling on the eyes. Brilliant. And a lot more hygienic. You can wipe that off like that, and you basically got a clean applicator again. So it is a lot more hygienic. The only thing about this is that the way that it dispenses is through that hole. So when you want to apply product, you have to squeeze the tube and it comes out through that hole. So again, it's very easy to dispense too much product. You have to kind of get a knack of just squeezing out a little bit and dotting it and then blending it in, and then it's a bit of trial and error, because otherwise you could end up, if you just squeeze and do that, you are going to end up, let me just show you, if I just squeezed it like that and just did that like that, now I've used a massive amount of product doing that and I've wasted it. So let me just show you what I mean. So in terms of hygiene, it's better. In terms of waste, it's not as good as Charlotte's one. But Charlotte's one is not as good as on hygiene. So again, it depends on your priorities. But I thought these things will all help you to decide what your priorities are and what you want to choose, because otherwise the sales spiel is telling you all the same things. Okay, now let me get on to my experience of wearing all four, and I will then apply one of them for you. Okay, it's no secret, I've told you, I love Magic Away, and it is definitely water resistant. And yeah, I've got it in 2 shades. I do love it. I don't like the dispenser. I don't like the cap, and it's very difficult sometimes to use. But I like the product on my under eyes. It works really well, and especially when my eyes water, it stays put. And I also think you can get away with this without actually setting it with powder, because it dries down, but it still leaves a dewy finish. But it dries down with a dewy finish, which I like, because I think the least powder that you can put under your eyes, the better when you've got fine lines. Okay, moving on to Huda. I think this is actually very similar to Charlotte's, and is a lot cheaper per mil than Charlotte's. What is it? So it's £2.30 per mil instead of £6.16. You just got to be careful not to overuse it. I think it's better to kind of put some on your fingers, and then if you want the cooling effect of the dispenser, that you can put that on afterwards so that you don't overuse it. I like this as well. I think it gives a very similar finish to Charlotte's. It dries down the same way as Charlotte's, and it leaves that dewy finish, and you don't particularly need to set it if you don't want to. So I'm very keen on that, and I think it looks nice. And it's got 4 more shades as well as Charlotte's. So, you know, price per mil, I think there's not a lot between these two in terms of the way that they look. And they've both got this Persian, whatever it's called, silk tree extract business going on. I will look up some more ingredients as I talk about them over the next few weeks. Now, the Jouer I was quite disappointed with, I have to tell you, because I was expecting this to look really good under my eyes with the ingredients listed as hyaluronic acid, peptides, resveratrol. They're all really good ingredients, and they're ones that I recognise. And I've never heard of Persian tree extract until recently. So I was really keen to try this when I saw that that was in there. But I have to say I was quite disappointed because it did dry down. But when it dried down too matte on me. And it did actually make me look more wrinkly than I am. And I put on, last night I put on Jouer on this eye and Huda on that eye, and I asked my sister on FaceTime to tell me which one, and she said this one because that one makes you look older. It's actually accentuating fine lines, which I was really disappointed because I thought given the ingredients it wouldn't do that, but it does. The coverage is insane, absolutely insane. If I just show you this, I mean, they're all pretty good coverage, but this just seems to be, if I just dot this around this thing that I've got up there, I can completely cover it. It's probably a bit too light, but I've just dotted that now. And if I just pat that over, it will completely cover it up. Completely. See, it's gone. It is absolutely insane. I think you could use this actually, and what I might use it as, even though it doesn't say this on their marketing, is as a sculpting one. But just go easy on it because it's really, really high coverage. But I think I might want to tend to use this to kind of highlight points of my face rather than putting this under my eyes. Or getting one that is the same shade as your foundation and using it as an all-over concealer. I just think if you've got fine lines, it didn't do it for me. I'm sorry, I know that that's what they said it's for, but it just accentuated mine. Too Faced. I think Too Faced is good. To be honest, I don't think it's good. It's a good concealer. It's not a bad concealer. To me, it just didn't come across as anything special. But I think that's probably because I've been using Shape Tape before, and I think it's just very similar to Shape Tape. And of course, Shape Tape is something special, but it doesn't offer you something new in the way that the Huda one and the Charlotte one does in terms of the texture. So these ones, I think, is like if you've had Shape Tape and you like Shape Tape, you like the consistency of it, then you'll like this. You'll love it. And it's very good value for money. £1.60 per mil is really, really good value for 50, and you get 15 mils. It's going to last you a long time. So I can't say anything bad about this, but it's not going to give you anything that's really different to Shape Tape or some of those that you've had before. So if you're expecting something different, I think if you like that elasticy feel of kind of smoothing, then I think it would be between Magic Away and Huda Beauty. For under the eyes, definitely. And for Jouer, I think I would use that as an all-over face concealer. I think it's still really good. I think I'm going to intend to use that to cover up that thing until it fades away. Hopefully it will. Or to actually use on these little thread veins there because it's got insane coverage. Yeah. So that's my overall verdict. So I would say these two for under the eyes. These two, sculpting or face ones, they're all good concealers. and it depends what you want them for. The best bargain is this one. The most hygienic is the Huda one. Sorry, the best bargain is Too Faced. The most hygienic is Huda. The least wasteful is Charlotte's. And probably I would say the highest coverage is Jouer. Alright, so I hope that's helped you today. I'm going to put on some Huda Beauty now, and I'll put it under one eye, and I'll leave you with that, and then I'm going to finish off and do my makeup, and I will see you tomorrow for Foundation Friday. So what I'm going to do with this is I'm going to squeeze a little bit. Let me put it under this eye, and I'm going to squeeze a little bit like that, and then I'm just going to dot it with my fingers. It is a lovely cooling stick, but if you carry on with that, you're going to end up putting too much on. Now, I'm going to put some swatches at the end. You will notice on the swatches, I noticed with the Jouer one and the Huda one, that they did oxidize on my skin. That doesn't necessarily mean they're going to oxidize on yours, but you will see that as they were drying, they oxidize a little bit. So be careful when you're picking the shades, that you don't go for one that's too light, too dark, I should say, because it's going to look lighter when you put it on, and then it's going to get dark. Now, can you see the difference there? And I actually don't feel like I want to set that with powder. It doesn't feel overly sticky. You can if you want to. I will show you what it looks like actually with powder. Let's do the other eye. Now, if you want me to compare these in a different way, if you want me to do a wear test and put Huda on one eye and Charlotte's on the other, and then do another day comparing Jouer and Too Faced, let me know how you'd like me to do it, because obviously with 4 products I didn't quite know how to do the wear test thing. But just let me know, and I will look at your feedback, and your wish will be my command, as long as you don't all say different things. I'll go with the majority. Or I could just use them, like I could just go between each one in the next few videos and say, today I'm going to use the Jouer one, and today I'm going to use the Huda one, so that you can see it that way. I will just get my powder and I'll be right back. See, before I put my powder on, I'm actually going to use this on my lids as well, because I think that's the other thing with Charlotte's and with Huda's, because it's got a little bit of a tightening effect. It's really good on your lids, but you can see how it sometimes drags until you've got enough liquid on there, and I just prefer to get the amount that I need, because it's very easy to go over the top, as you can see. That was a tiny amount. If I squeeze that straight onto there, I would get too much. So I'm just going to use this as well to cancel out my lids. You know, when I first trained as a singer, and we had those few little lessons in stage makeup, there weren't really contour products around and loads of different concealers for doing this, that and the other. And certainly on stage, it was like you had pan sticks and you just got a darker one for contouring, you got a lighter one for highlighting. So when I see these products that say they're 4-in-1, and with this you can do this with it, and with this product you can do this with it, and I'm thinking, so what, you could do that with any, because that's what I was shown. You know, you can get a foundation that's darker, so you've got foundation stick. You can get one that's darker and you can contour with it. How is that any different to one that is called a contour stick? So sometimes I take some of these, oh, this is a 4-in-1, or this is lipstick you can use on your cheeks. You can use any lipstick on your cheeks. You know, you just got to be careful about things that you're not supposed to do. Like, there's some eye products or some things that you might think, like some of MAC's glitters and stuff that say don't put them near your eyes. And you have to be aware of the things not to do rather than the things that you can do. So there you have it. And that is Huda. Now, can you see that as soon as I put powder on, I look like I've got more lines. But if I spray that now with a bit of Fix Plus, that will correct that out. But it's a very good product, and I think it's very similar to Charlotte's. And Charlotte's is a very good product too. So Huda's is cheaper. But I do love Charlotte's products, and I love the look of them. That's the other thing, aesthetically. Although this is messy, I do love rose gold stuff. I know that sounds really silly, really. But that's something to take into consideration if you like pretty things in your handbag. Anyway, so that's today's video. I will make myself up. I'll do a photo of my finished look. And I will see you tomorrow for Foundation Friday. Take care. Have a good day. Bye-bye.